everybody, and welcome to Movie Fridays, where sometimes you look on your shelf and you wondered, why did I even get this movie? And, of course, today's film is no exception. For today, I'm going to be talking about a film that, for some reason, I looked at in theaters, then I got from a video store, then saw it again in 2012. It's been sitting on my shelf for a long time, and I wonder, why do I even have this movie? And that particular movie is Doomsday. Now, for those that do not know this film, it's basically a post-apocalyptic film, sci-fi action film about this female who basically winds up becoming the most high elite soldier in all of UK, and basically winds up getting assigned to figure out what's behind the wall after so many years have passed, see if there's a cure for this mysterious plague that's been happening. So they wind up getting a group to go down there and see if there's a cure, but of course they wind up running into some unfriendly guests. And of course those unfriendly guests are the carnivores that want to eat them alive after, finishing off all the animals. So they're going to eat off humans. So they have to avoid them while, of course, trying to find the doctor so that they can get an answer on whether or not there is a cure for their mysterious disease. But it's going to be a long ride and a long trial, and it's going to be way, way bumpy along the way for their long adventure of avoiding those guys, and of course, the high-octane and high-energy adventure, at least that's what FearNet calls it, in this post-apocalyptic film from 2008. Now, let me get one thing perfectly clear. I saw this film when it came out in theaters in 2008. I think it was like the week or the week after it opened up that I saw it in theaters, and I think that my family and I, when we saw it, we thought it was alright. I mean, nothing too spectacle, but we love the action and everything about it. But as time and time passed, we suddenly kept forgetting about it, and then suddenly when I went into the video store, they saw it on like HBO or Cinemax or whenever it came on FX for the TV edits, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this movie, kind of. Of course, I did wind up picking this up at an old former video store, just for some reason. Never really saw it all the way through at first, but I did pick it up and thought, might keep me occupied if on vacation. I did see it in 2012, but honestly, it did nothing. It kept me occupied again, but I don't think nothing's changed out of it. But then, literally, for my Movie Fridays, I thought it'd be a good subject. Since this is just one of those movies where I thought about this one. Because you ever get that feeling that you see a movie and you let it sit in the back of your mind for a long time. You forget about it for a bit and you focus on other things, other movies, your life and whatnot. But then as soon as the movie pops up, or there's like one little reminiscent of that said film that just clicks, it's then on that you suddenly remember that movie. And you go to Google it, or Bing, or whatever you guys use, to look up what that movie is. That's what happened to me. Because I saw it, I had it, but it's been sitting on my shelf for the longest time, and I didn't really think about it. Mostly because I don't think it's really that interesting of a film the more I thought about it. I don't see it that often. It sits on my shelf just with the case gathering dust and the disc just doing nothing, praying that it will die sometime. But with that in mind, what good is there in the film? Many people say there's not many good in this. I have looked high and low to see what the ratings were on this, all the reviews were, and many people are split on this film. Like, there's a 6 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes, 50%, 6 out of 10 on IMDb. What am I thinking? It's a 6 out of 10 on IMDb, 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 6 out of 10 on YTS, which is the pointing service. Forget I said that. But I haven't really seen if, like, any other critic at the time has even talked about this film, or even briefly said whether or not this is a good movie. I mean, it does try to borrow some elements from movies such as Mad Max Fury Road, what am I saying? Mad Max, like the 3 films that came out around that time. Mad Max, The Road Warrior, and Beyond Thunderdome. And then there's other movies that it borrows it from, but I'm not familiar with them to know what it is. It does have that Mad Max feel in it, and the post-apocalyptic idea of it. It reminds me so much of Mad Max. It's too uncanny to even feel that idea being in there. But also there's references to other movies in there, such as Escape from New York, Excalibur, No Blade for Grass, Omega Man, Boy and His Dog, Gladiator, Children of Men, and, surprisingly enough, The Warriors. And yes, I do like The Warriors from 1979. It is one of my few favorite cult classics. Anywho, the idea behind this film is kind of interesting, but I just can't grasp the idea of actually trying to remember this film, but it just can't sit with me. I think it's just been done before, and others have seen this idea happen. That the people behind Doomsday already knew it happened beforehand. And I think by the time of this point, I think the film barely made its money back worldwide to even get, like, a better DVD or Blu-ray release. So there was that purpose, that it didn't even serve the idea of it. And even some plot holes, even it said unrated edition that it tries to include in this DVD and Blu-ray releases, they try to add scenes into the movie that more furthers the plot to try to confuse people than it just tries to add the gore. Because think about it. Theatrical version is already gory as it is. There's not much to add in the unrated edition than you have right now. But seriously, we live in an era where the Motion Picture Association doesn't even do their job properly. Where they give PG ratings to movies that practically should be rated G. And PG-13 movies are extremely violent compared to R-rated films. So, makes no sense. But anyway, so I think what I'm trying to get at is Doomsday, unless you're willing to go on some random horror binge to see which one's the worst, Doomsday may be up that alley. I don't think it's one of the worst, but I just think it could have been done a bit better. So, I guess with that in mind, on the recommendation scale, I most definitely give this film avoided. Unless you're willing to go into this film with the sincere, unholy testament that you're gonna have, this odd, goofy fun with the film, or at least just gonna be in there going out with a drunken time, or just probably gonna forget the film in T-minus 1 day, like I have, this is one film to skip. It's not really worth the buy on DVD or Blu-ray, or not even worth the re-release. And why did I even get this movie to begin with? But this could be worth a Ferb Guy review if I do relaunch the review show. Who knows? Might happen. But with that in mind, if you're one of the fortunate ones to see Doomsday, what did you think about it? And what is your favorite horror movie of all time? What are your thoughts, sir? Comment below and let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click on the channel name if you want to see more. And as always, I'm the Ferb Guy, and I'll see you guys for the next movie.